Hey everyone, welcome to Ivan's Art Creation. So today I want to explore why is it that people don't really know their neighbors, coworkers, or anybody down the street or in the building. So today we're going to look at what are some practical tips on how to start a conversation right at the surface level, and we're going to look at some of the benefits and some of the downfalls of not knowing your neighbors and why the distance. Shall we? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Hi, do we know each other? You want to hear something wild? You know how we're all connected online, like hyper connected. But it turns out that about 60% of the people on planet Earth don't really know their neighbors at all, not even one. And when you look at the younger generation, well, it's even worse. It climbs closer to about 80%. And that might seem the new normal, but really, that's an interesting disconnect. Global reach, but yet local disconnect. So today I want to explore why is it that we don't get to know our neighbors? Why is it that we don't strike up a conversation with them? But more importantly, what are we missing out on? What's the upside of getting to know your neighbor? So I want to bridge that gap and look at some tips on how we can have a safer community, a more trusted neighbor, how we can get to know Bob or John or Bill just down the street. So first off, why the distance? I think for one, privacy. Everybody values privacy. They want to be private to themselves, don't want to meet the neighbor, don't want to meet your next door, let's say friend or whatever it's going to be. You don't know that maybe a stranger is going to become a friend. And I think just people are super busy with their lives that striking up a conversation with your neighbor or your colleague or anyone in your building for that matter might be like number 10 on the priority list. Or maybe you probably just had a really bad conversation with a neighbor 5, 10 years ago. And let's just be honest, striking up a conversation with someone you don't know might be nerve wracking. So the flip side, what are some of the benefits? I think there's trust. I think there's building a sense of building a community. I think there's also a sense of just people when you're driving down the street and driving down your neighborhood, you're just saying hello to your neighbors and everybody is just getting along. But if you look at the other side, what is the downside? I think there's isolation. I think there's also, those kind of weird conversations. If you don't really know your neighbor, it's kind of, you don't have, goodwill, basically, to ask him for maybe a tub of, I don't know, flour or sugar. So you see, many, many years ago, I was also challenged with this problem. And back in my neighborhood, I made myself more visible, essentially. So when our little one was about 6 months old, I kept walking back and forth. I was strolling my son back and forth. And eventually I got to meet my neighbor. And in fact, being more visible, I got to meet this person named Mac. And now Mac is not only my friend, but he's also a friend of my family, my brothers, and I've gotten to see his wife, his sons, his sister, and it's just a beautiful relationship. Fast forward about another year or two, a new neighbor comes in and he's moving in, and Mac and I are driving, and we say, "Hey, Mac, we see this gentleman. Let's stop and say hello." So we met Munaf, and he's also been. And the reason why it happened so naturally is we stopped, said hello to him, and said, "Hey, we're in the neighborhood, we're in the community, and we're seeing you're moving in, and we just wanted to be part of your life." I know that might sound weird, but that has matured and it has grown to be exactly that. So, how do you exactly do that? I think, for one, being more visible. right? If you're out there more, people see you more, want to say hello. And I think just scratching the surface, just a compliment. Hey, what a beautiful color on your door. Not too long ago, my neighbors here were putting up a beautiful door. I just went up to them and said, hey, I'm thinking of putting the same door. Do you mind if I take some pictures? That has resulted in a quick hellos. Hi, how are you doing? They came over, introduced themselves. My goodness, just from the power of a genuine compliment. So now, if you look down your street, I want to challenge you, or maybe around your building or in the office, who can you strike up a conversation with? We talked about being more visible. We talked about just a genuine compliment. And I think that's going to create a more beautiful community of getting to know your neighborhood, getting to know people that live in your building, also colleagues that work with you, even probably team members that you really don't know them really well. You get to know them in a deeper level. I think those are some of the benefits of getting to know your neighborhood: a sense of community, a sense of goodwill, a sense of saying hello to Bob or Joe or Juan for that matter, and just better sense of environment.